What up, though? Yes, we got NFL, Joe Burrow. What is going on? College football upset. It continues, ladies and gentlemen. And we got a great fight that happened. Canelo, Crawford. History was made. Let's go.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What is up? What is up? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? You know what time it is. It is the Wait a Minute Show with your man, Jelani JB Boda. You see it right there. Yeah, it's the Wait a Minute Show. And I'm going to give you your sports fix for today. So glad you could jump in with us. I gave Mo the day off, right? Mo is doing, some big things. And we'll talk about, what those big things are when he gets back. But in the meantime, like, subscribe, notifications. Good stuff. If you like what you're seeing, man, support your boy. Help me out. And keep coming back. Keep coming back. So we're going to be talking about basically a recap of the sporting weekend. A lot went on. Let me just say that. A lot has transpired over the weekend and actually into Monday while we're recording this as well. So I think probably the biggest thing that jumped off, because it was like, we're going to start with this. Then it's like, nope, I'm going to start with, nope, something else comes up. So the biggest thing right now is Joe Burrow, Cincinnati quarterback for the Bengals, has turned toe. And he's going to do the surgery, which is already happening, right? Probably already right now as we speak. But the biggest thing is it's going to be out. God dog it, man. Let me say this. Let me be selfish for a second, okay? If I can be selfish just for a second, let me be selfish for a second. I've been trying to get Joe Burrow on my fantasy league every year. Every year. And the one year that I finally get him, I digress. It's not about you, Jelani. It's not about you. Yeah, so hopefully Joe is going to be all right. But the real big thing is really the Bengals and what happens here now that Joe Burrow, we know, is going to be out for 3 months. So pretty much looking at the calendar, looking to be back prior around that week 15 mark. And one thing I'm going to say, because the question is it doom and gloom for the Bengals? Is this a wrap? Now, obviously, the odds maker has changed their Super Bowl or title, how you say, chances, if you will. But I don't think it's doom and gloom just yet for the Bengals. And here's why. The first thing is that they are 2-0. Remember, this Bengal team, year after year after year for the, last few previous years, they have started off in the hole. So at least you got some house money that you're working with. The other thing I'm going to say is that Jake Browning, who is going to take over, I do think they may get another quarterback just as a backup, but I don't think they're going to be trying to get a quarterback to start in front of Jake Browning. I think Jake Browning is the guy. Jake Browning has been in this situation before. Jake Browning has played with these individuals and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and others and this coaching staff. So he has the confidence, or he has the belief and the backing of the coaching staff and the team. And Jake Browning has won some games. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to put Jake Browning out there and start running plays or acting like this is Joe Burrow out there. I think that's the biggest thing. But I think that is the obvious thing. Now, bigger than ever, is that they're going to need help, from their defense. They're going to need help from guys like Chase Brown in this running game. So I don't think everything is doom and gloom. And if you look at their schedule, the schedule isn't just a slaughterhouse going through the next 3 months. I'm not saying that it's an easy peasy schedule or anything like that. Don't get it wrong. But I think where Joe Burrow will be able to come back, they do have a game against the Ravens. I think he'll miss that, but he'll be back probably for week 15 if everything goes accordingly to play the Ravens, because they finish out. I think they play the Ravens, they play the Bills, and they play somebody else, and I think the Steelers. So those really, really tough games that they're going to have some at the end. And Joe could be possibly back, or he probably will be back. So the main thing for the Bengals is use this 2-0 that you're starting out with this house money and get back into it. We've seen them do this before, being 0-2, and then they can win some games. They kind of go on a run. So they don't have to do that now. They really just have to maintain. And we've seen other quarterbacks before have stepped in. And I am not saying that Jake Browning are these quarterbacks, but I'm saying we have seen scenarios where guys have come in and been able to play. Nick Foles has been able to play. We've seen who was it? Kurt Warner has been able to come in and play. Dak Prescott has come in and play. These are after injuries. So we have seen quarterbacks. Sam Darnold. Nobody was talking about Sam Darnold last year. So it's possible. Now, is things different for the Bengals? Absolutely. You're going to be climbing up a little bit steeper hill, but I don't think it's just over yet. Don't go ahead and start retiring the team just yet. Jake Browning will be there. He'll be game, and I think this Bengals organization or this Bengal team is going to try and back him. Just my thoughts. Let's move on to another game, and I'm going to be quick about this. A lot of people went crazy about the Dallas and Giants game, and don't get me wrong, that was a really, really good game. Two divisional opponents. Russell Wilson throwing for over 450 yards. They going back and forth. Aubrey kicking a 64-yard field goal and going into overtime. All that stuff. Neighbors is a monster. Problem. All of that. Now, people are going to call that the game of the year. It was a really good game. What did we learn from either side? Here's what I'm going to say, with the Giants, is that you're still, a work in progress. You're still a work in progress. This is not the time really to run Jackson Dart out there. I'm not going to say this team currently built as it is. If you put Jackson Dart out there right now, it's going to be this dramatic difference maker. Still do what you've been doing. I just talked about guys coming in. I remember Kurt Warner was on the Giants, and he played, I think, 6 or 7 games, maybe 8 games. And then they had Eli come in and play after that. Maybe it's a situation like that. But this team right now, they're still in that progression stage. So I thought the Giants had them. Remember, because if you remember, I came on here and I said that I believe that the Cowboys could finish or start out 0-2. I said that, and that almost happened. But Russ threw that interception, and that kind of changed a lot of stuff. A bunch of other stuff in there. But now let's talk about the Cowboys. And looking at the Cowboys, yeah. One of the things I said, because Russ threw for over 450 yards, it would have been great to have a pass rush. Would have been, and it's not just all, on that. And I'll get to that in a second. But here's why I'm not just overly impressed by the Cowboys winning this game. And the biggest thing is that I think Dak Prescott is like 16-1 or 16-2 against the New York Giants. So this is a team that he's owned or an organization that has owned the New York Giants time in and time out over the past, over half a decade, right? 6, 7, 8, years at this point. So you've been beating this team on the road and at home. So that's why also I'm like, it's a good win. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to say this means, anything dramatic for the Dallas Cowboys. I think they just were able to overcome some of the things that they gave up, especially those big plays. Not only to Malik Neighbors, but to, I think, Robinson, the kid Robinson as well. Those are not plays that you should be giving up on the back end for your secondary. They did good in stopping the run, but it just seemed like you kind of transferred, a little bit where, yeah, you did good on the run, but you still got, some issues, with the pass rush. They got the win. That's the most important thing in it, but I'm not reading more than that into Dallas winning. And I wanted to say this, and I've been wanting to say this, and I should have said it before, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it right now. Is that, and I'm going to go back a little bit with the Jerry Jones and the Michael Parsons thing. Remember I said about the pass rush, but here's the only thing that I think I really had the biggest problem with that trade. Really quick. It's Jerry's team. You can trade whoever you want. The only thing I really didn't like was that you made it seem like we're not getting where we need to be because Micah can't stop the run. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not his forte. Or his specialty. His specialty is to create havoc, create a disruption, and to get sacks. And in that 4-year, going on 5-year period, if you knew, because you knew Micah couldn't stop the run or that wasn't his specialty, why didn't Dallas ever get him some help? You don't get rid of the talent and then, just swap it out. No. All right, my man, look, they exposing him on the run. We're going to get some guys. I know they tried, but it didn't work. That's the biggest thing to me. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that alone. No more Micah talk and Dallas Cowboy talk, on that. If anything, it'll be about the Packers and everything. And leave my quarterback alone, Micah. We'll get to Detroit in just a moment. I want to switch it up again. If you watched before, you've seen I put something out, earlier about this Canelo and Bud fight that happened over the weekend on Netflix. And first off, let me just say this. Props to Netflix. Props to Netflix. I watched the entire fight without any buffering. Boy, I know people were sitting there waiting like, if this thing buffer, I'm going to jump out the window. So props to, well, at least for me, props to Netflix, man. No issues, no problems or anything like that. It was able to get from beginning to end for the fight. So let me talk about the fight itself. Bud Crawford is that dude, man. Canelo is that dude as well. I think we got a great fight. I think we got two champions where just someone had to lose. It wasn't going to end in a draw. If it ended in a draw, I would have been mad about that. Somebody had to win. And this is one of those Canelo talked about. He said he's still a champion. Absolutely. He's still a champ. He just lost to another champ. And in this fight, again, I'm not no boxing pro. So I'm not going to start sitting on here acting as if, I'm like, oh, he was, using his weave. Nah. But what I did witness, though, was Terence Crawford really debunked a lot of things that people said he wasn't going to be able to do in this fight. A lot of people said he wasn't going to be able to take a punch from Canelo. People were saying that he wasn't going to be able to square up. People were saying that coming up in the weight class, that was a mistake. They were saying he wasn't going to be able to deliver any powerful punches. He wasn't going to be able to set the tone. He wasn't going to be able to get his respect. And I think through all of that, in that fight, he got everything that people said that he wasn't going to do. I watched this dude. He stand toe to toe, face to face with Canelo, and as the rounds kept going on and on, you could just tell the confidence that was growing in Terence Crawford, but you also could tell the frustration that was happening with Canelo Alvarez, and it was just it was masterful. It was a really good fight by both fighters, and then I love that we can have a good fight that doesn't cause for me talking about your mama or your girl or slapping you or something. It was all respect, and we got what we wanted. Just a good fight between two really good fighters. So I appreciate that. What else is going on? Oh, news of Shadur Sanders. I'm going to talk about this really quick. Is that Shadur Sanders? I think it was reported by Adam Schefter is that the Baltimore Ravens wanted to draft Shadur in the 5th round, and he told them thanks but no thanks. So of course it's going to be this debate whether he should have went there or not. I don't fault Shadur for not going, and for the main reason is that we look at Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart it's just a matter of time. Either this season, definitely next season, he will be playing. That's not going to happen in Baltimore. You got a guy who's a 2-time MVP in Baltimore, only 28 years old, in the prime of his career. Why would Shadur want to go? And I know people are going to say, oh, you can learn behind and all that. No, not there. That's not going to be. You really think Baltimore is going to have him sit there? He's going to be not getting any reps. He's going to just be on the bench. He's going to learn, but he's not going to have any on-field experience for the next 3 years. 3 years, maybe 4. And somebody's gonna you mean to tell me because he's been in Baltimore system, there's gonna be some other team that's just gonna come along and just say, well, because he was sitting behind Lamar, this is gonna be no. No, if anything, that would help out, some people that I still think is holding it against him. But I don't think that's beneficial, for him. I don't think that's beneficial for Shador, for a guy who's expecting to start. So going to another team, he didn't know where he was going because at that point he wasn't drafted yet. So he took the chance of saying, you know what, I'll see if another team drafts me where I have a better shot. So I don't got anything. I think it was a better move for him to turn that down. Not that he didn't want to be there, but it's just the aspect of I'm not going to play in any situation. Shador could literally play from week 8 on for the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm hoping, I'm not saying anything about this because I don't want anything to happen to Lamar Jackson, but I'm saying if you had the Carson Wentz, Nick Foles thing where he takes them to the Super Bowl and everything, Lamar is still the quarterback that next year. So it's nothing he could do. So yes, Shador, I believe he did the right thing. Bet on himself. Take it, go somewhere else and see if he can make a difference. Let's get into some college football. And Georgia Tech, Tennessee, and Clemson. And we had some other good games too. Notre Dame got upset. But I want to touch base on this Georgia-Tennessee game. And Tennessee, they were there. They were almost there. We saw the false start. I honestly, I think that probably shook the kicker. Looking at the kicker, he looked, I'm not saying he was shell shocked, but I think he was thinking about it. And that's a hard position to put a kid in. And because he came right back after that while there was an overtime and made that pretty much the same field goal. Now, it doesn't have the same magnitude, that was attached to it, but Tennessee almost, pulled this off. And this win for Georgia, I think will help them down the road because the belief, the sticking with it, to the not giving up, making plays when you need to make plays when it was crunch time, and then just taking advantage of a situation that's been given to you. Because when he missed the field goal, then Georgia was able to to take advantage of that. So I think that did something for Georgia. I think it propelled them as well. So they went up. Going down is Clemson right now. They lose to Georgia Tech on a last-second field goal, and Georgia Tech has been doing this for the past 2 years, ladies and gentlemen. They beat Miami late last season, and now they've beat a Clemson team. And let's just be honest, Clemson and nobody at Clemson, I think, is going to deny this. They're not playing up to their capability. And the good thing is that there is still a playoffs. But the bad thing is that they have 2 losses already. And I believe they'll get through the rest of their schedule for the bulk of it. When you look at their schedule, winnable games, I think there's 2 teams they really got to worry about. You got to worry about Florida State. Don't have any more hiccups. I'm just saying, no more hiccup against teams, but they struggled so far in their first 3 games. You struggled against Troy, you struggled against Georgia Tech, and you got beat by LSU. But they got to beat Florida State. You can't take a loss to Florida State, and at some point they could either run into Miami, which would be the ACC championship game because they don't play them, or maybe they see Florida State again. So you can't get that. You can't get that third loss because then that puts you in that Alabama conversation that I talked about last year, where you got 3 losses, but one of those are going to hurt you. Or actually all 3 will hurt you, but 2 of those are really going to hurt you because you struggle, right? So Clemson, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there. Maybe it's just going back, keeping it basic or anything, but I do believe they'll go, on a run, beat the teams that's in front of, and I should be respectful to South Carolina too, because that's a rivalry game, so that could be a tough game for them as well. Last thing I'm going to end off with this squad right here. Hey, my Detroit Lions. I guess everything ain't gloom and doom, right? Just a week ago, lost to the Packers, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, the coordinators, all this stuff. What is going on with Detroit and everything? And then they come back and drop 52 on the Chicago Bears and Ben Johnson's return. So a few things. I did not like that Lions fans were saying F Ben Johnson. He's done way too much for the team to deserve that. I understand he went to a divisional foe and all that, but it's not that deep, Lions fans. Don't do that. The other thing was that did the Lions run up the score on the Chicago Bears? Yeah, they sure did. But when asked to Ben Johnson, like, how did he feel about it? He said, that's what they do. Was it demoralizing? He said, no. What did you expect him to say? One, he's absolutely right. And I don't think he was lying or anything like that. But I'm just like, what kind of question is that? What kind of question is that? Ask him that where literally last season, he was on the other end of this. When they played Tennessee, they ran up the numbers. When they played a bunch of other teams that they played last year, they ran up the numbers. So that can't be the pot calling the kettle black, because you're on the other side. So props to Ben Johnson for not going, for not touching that and really saying, basically was just saying, get out of here. This is family, if you ask me. It's just like any other relative you got. If you got your father, if you got your cousin, if you got your uncle, you got your brother, a sibling, your mom's, your aunt, whatever. When you want to beat them more than you want to beat anybody else, and you want them to remember it. So this is just family going against family. But the Bears are not where people thought they were. They're going to play Dallas next, so that's going to be real interesting. But the Bears are not where where we thought that they would be, and they still got some items. I told you got to establish the run. This is what make Ben Johnson be able to do all the other things that he can do. You establish the run consistently, and impose your will on that. But they got behind, and then they got one dimensional, and that put a lot of pressure on Caleb Williams. So yes. The Lions ran it up. The Lions wanted to send a message. Also, they need to get back because they didn't want to be 0-2. You got to get back, on everything because I just talked about it. I said Lamar Jackson. We got the Ravens next week. And Brian Branch was talking about that. He was just like, look, hey, this is all good, man, but hey, we got the Ravens next week. Absolutely. We got to get ready for the Ravens because they mollywopped us last time. And I remember October 22nd, 2023. Yes, I remember that date, getting the business given to us. So we owe them one. We got to get back in the mix. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mo is out. He'll be back. Hopefully you were good with me. Had fun with me again. Like, subscribe, turn on those notifications and all that stuff. Follow your boy. And I will be back next time with more sports, more stuff, and hopefully another Lions win. This is just, I'm just being selfish. But until then, two things as always. Stay positive and push forward. I'll let y'all later. Peace.